Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tour review is going to be a Bosch laser measure, and more specifically, it is the Blaze Outdoor. That's the key thing with this one. It is the GLM-400c. I recently had a short showing where I picked this up. I went to my local Lowe's, was checking out the tool section, and I saw this on clearance for $90, and I thought that was a really good deal. I've actually been eyeballing it for quite some time. Normal price on this thing is somewhere between $250 and $300. Just depends on where you're getting it, when the last time you looked at the price. But I decided to pick it up because it's something that I feel like would be useful to me. It's not something I 100% absolutely needed, but there's going to be times for at 90 bucks I'm willing to buy it. And again, that's why I'm going ahead and making this video. I haven't had this tool for very long. Normally I might spend a little bit more time figuring out the ins and outs so that I could explain it a little bit better, but I've got the gist of it, and I wanted to get it out there so in case your local Lowe's has it on clearance and this is a good tool for you, you can make sure and go pick one up. Because for 90 bucks, it's a good tool for me, but even still that, at 90 bucks, it's not going to be that big of a difference for a lot of you. It just depends on what it is that you do, because you can get a regular laser measure from Bosch or another brand, and I would even recommend a dual laser measure if this isn't something that you would use that often. For less than $90, so you could go that route. But then there's going to be some of you out there that maybe you don't even know that this thing is an option, and if you do like estimating outdoors, you go around and measure outsides of buildings, you measure heights of buildings, things like that, this would be indispensable. I mean, you would probably say I'll pay $500 for this thing, because I don't really know that there's any other options out there that does anything like this. I could be completely wrong with that. You guys can let me know in the comments. But again, I've been eyeballing this for quite some time, so I thought I'd go ahead and put this out there since it is on clearance, give you the kind of the features, what you get in the box. I'll show it to you in use a little bit, and then again, hopefully you can make up your mind on whether or not it's the right tool for you. But let's go ahead and jump into what you get in the box and its features. I'm going to change the light, and you're going to see some more shadows, but once I turn that screen on, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to see if it's a little darker. Here's what you get in the box. You get the 1x sturdy pouch, 3x AA batteries, 1x wrist strap, and obviously you're going to get the unit. 1/16 plus or minus on the accuracy, indoor and outdoor use. So again, it's not just an outdoor laser measure. You could buy this one, use it indoors if you primarily do indoor measuring, but then also if you do any outdoor measuring, it will give you the capabilities to do both with one laser measure. Also has all these features right here, so you can pause the screen and check out those. It does have a side trigger. I do like that. So instead of having to run your finger up here, if you're holding it like this, you don't have to sit there and try to get your thumb to that. You've got a button over here that you can press. Most laser measures don't have that. Here's some more features and characteristics: dust and water protection, flip display, magnification, real-time measuring, has some memory, and then here's some technical data and all those kinds of things if you want to check that out as well. I'm not sure if it's got anything else. It does have Bluetooth, it says over here on the side. I was seeing if there was anything else that you might would want to see on the box. Made in Malaysia, I guess. Sometimes a lot of people ask that question, where they're made. So that's the box. That's what you get. As far as the pouch itself, this is actually a pretty decent pouch compared to a lot of them that you get. This is pretty stiff, but the one thing I really like about it is that it's got a magnetic closure. It's not Velcro, so you don't have to sit there and rip this off and listen to that sound all the time. It snaps shut with a magnet, and then on the back side it also has a belt clip instead of a loop. Most of them have a loop that you got to run through a belt. So this one is one that you could actually clip on and off and use, or clip it onto the side of your tool bag and keep your laser measure in there. I really like this in comparison to a lot of the other cases, that I've received. As far as the wrist strap there, it's just connected through here, so you can run that through there so that you don't end up dropping it at some point in time. It's always a good thing to have. As far as exterior features on the unit, you do have this pin measurement where you can select where you want to measure from. You can measure from the front of the unit, back of the unit, or you can press this button right here and it flips this out and gives you a pin that you can stick into places if you need to get a measurement into somewhere else. I don't really know that, again, if you're doing indoor measurement and you want 100% good accuracy, you can probably get that with this. If you're doing what I'm going to show you with the outdoor, I don't know that you're really going to be able to, get that kind of accuracy with things, but it is an option that's there. And again, to change out the batteries, you flip this out, turn this, it opens up, it takes the 3 AA batteries. These are the ones that were provided with the unit. It does seal off there with the gasket. You can put that back in, twist that, and again, to shut this, you just press this button, push that forward, it locks it back up into place. And again, exterior features wise, it does have that side button. I really like that. And then other than that, we're going to turn the unit on by pressing this button here. you're going to see that screen come up, and again, it's got the picture in the background coming from a camera up here at the top. So it's going to be, if I can turn it just right, again, there you can see that Morgan's Maintenance logo maybe inside there, but for the most part, you're going to be looking at my ceiling. And again, it's got several different features. I'm just going to scroll through these. I'm not going to explain what they all do and all those kinds of things. You can look that up, and in fact, if you're looking at this, you already know what most of these do if you've owned a laser measure at all. So again, you can get into the settings right there by pressing this button. It's got Bluetooth. You can turn that on and off. You scroll over. This is that reference level. So again, you can reference off the back of the unit. It says rear there. Also says the pin. Here's the front of the unit. Or there's also a section here where you can measure from the side of the unit. I'm not sure, or the tripod actually. It's got a tripod right here, so that's where it would actually be measuring from, is from this distance right here. I guess I forgot to show you that. And the one thing that I did like is, right now in this mode, let's say I want to use the pin. If I press this button in and flip that pin out, it automatically swaps over to the pin feature, and you just press the button there and accept that, and now I'm measuring off that pin. And then once I go and I put that pin up, you're going to see it changes back to the rear. It does that automatically. I really like that they thought that through, because sometimes, you know, you might flip that pin out, think you're measuring off the pin, but if you didn't change it, it's not going to do that. So we get back into the settings. So you've got the reference. You've also got a timer where you can time it to go on and off. If with no, like if you're not using it whatsoever, to turn itself off, you can do that. You get into permanent laser, so you can turn that on and off. That's where the laser just stays out all the time, but that's going to obviously run your battery down a little bit more, not extend the life of the tool. You can also go in and calibrate it if you want to. I'm not going to do that right now. Same thing, that's for the tilt calibration. You can also do the viewfinder calibration, and then there's several tool settings in here. Language, date, time, the measurement of units, so you can go with feet and inches up to the 32nd, or I can even press this again and it goes feet and inches to the 16th, feet and inches to the 8th, feet and inches to the quarter, and to the half inch. I actually really like that. That's not an option that's on very many lasers at all. But again, we go back. Let me get into the settings and go back to where we were, which is this tool settings. Again, you also have within there, you can go with meters, centimeters, millimeters, decimal feet. So lots of options on what kind of measurement you want to use. You can also do angles. You can do this Blue Hound, which I think is kind of like the Milwaukee, whatever it's called, the Red Link or whatever, where you can kind of keep track of all your stuff, tool information, audio signals, again, shutdown time, dimming, brightness, a lot of different options, auto rotate, all a bunch of settings that are within there that are pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go through a lot of those. But we get into, here's the screen. Again, you've got several functions that you can do. If I press the function button, I've got the continuous measurement where it's going to measure all the time. If I press that and I go to click, the measurement is going to change. You can see 1.90, 2.0. As I move that laser around, that's going to do continuous measurement. Or I can go over to length, where I basically have to press that button, and then it's going to give me that measurement every single time. There's 1.980. So obviously I stayed on the decimal in that. And then you also can check area, volume, indirect measurement, wall area, stakeout, and then level. So if we go into level, let's see what that is. That gives you that bullseye level, you know, where basically you can stick this flat on a surface and get to that, you know, right in the spot where you want to be. So that would be important maybe if you want to set it up on a tripod or something like that. So again, lots of different options. I'm not going to go through every single one of those because this would be a really long video. But what are some places where you would use this? Here's a spot up to the eave. This would be hard to get with your tape. You can see I've got 12 foot here from where I was standing and then where it was to the eave. And then also here's an idea of distance from me to that tree is 65'5", just to give you an idea of just a distance that you can travel with it. And then here's the pinpoint of it. I've got it shot on that downspout across from me, and this side of the house is 27'11" 5/8" from me to that downspout. So those are just a few examples, and again, those are kind of ideas of how I would use it to measure to an eave of a house, to measure an outside wall. Again, you might do something totally different if you're measuring, you know, like a lot or something like that, and you just want to get a rough idea. Again, it will go up to 400 feet. Do I know how accurate it is at 400 feet? Absolutely, I do not. I don't have a 400-foot tape measure. I don't have those kinds of things. One thing that makes this one really nice, though, and I didn't think about it out of the box until I got to using it a little bit more, because whenever I first got out of the box, I kind of just turned it on. I looked at the picture that I had, and I thought, man, if I'm shooting 200 feet, 100 feet, whatever it is, everything's pretty far away. I can't see it that well to know exactly what my crosshair is on. But they got this magnifying where you can press this. I'm going to get down to, that's the lowest setting right there, and then I can also press it and zoom in up to 4 times. I'll show that to you here over here on this side. I'm zooming in on that downspout. So I've got my laser measure on one side of the wall, wanting to see how long this wall is. I'm zooming in. Now I can know that my crosshair is on that downspout. I can get that measurement, again, at least a rough estimate of how long that wall is. So that measurement mode is what's going to really be able to allow you to see things a little bit farther away. Make sure your crosshair is where it needs to be. Is it going to be accurate again at 400 feet? Have no idea. Let me go ahead and show it to you here just to give you an idea of how it works. So to give you an example of how this thing works and the accuracy and those kinds of things, I am outdoors. I'm in some sunlight. I've even found a spot here where I got some shade, some sunlight. It doesn't really make a difference with this one, and it doesn't make a difference with any other laser measure. It doesn't matter if you're outdoors. If you're shooting anywhere farther than 4 or 5 feet, it's going to be hard to find that laser. But if I turn this unit on and press that button, you can see I've got the laser on here. If I move the laser over into the shaded area, close to the bottom of the shutter right there, it's kind of in that general area. Maybe you can still see it. I move over here to the sunlight. Very hard to see, and again, I can see it because I'm only a couple feet away. You start moving 10, 15 feet away, no way you're probably going to see that laser in either section. So now you can see I've got the tape measure butted up against this brick wall. I'm going to go to 12 foot. We're going to back up here. 12 foot is right here. I'm going to get that lined up on 12 foot. Going to press the button. Hopefully you can see that screen. Let me try to get some shade on it. And the screen shows up a lot better in person than it does through my phone. But you can see there I've got that red dot on the brick laying right next to the tape measure. Pretty close to that backside being on 12 foot. We'll press the button and we're at 12 foot and 5/16. So it's a hair longer than where I have it on my tape, but of course that could be a variance in the tape measure. It could be a variance in where my brick that laser is touching is stuck out just a hair farther than where my tape measure is sticking out. A couple different things to get to that 5/16 or 1/4 of an inch difference. But again, I'm not going to use this to cut crown molding outside or anything like that. You know, this is going to be an estimating device for me, something that I'm going to use to go measure around the outside perimeter of a building, measure the height of a building, and sometimes those things can get up to 40, 50 feet. I don't have tapes on me that are going to measure that long, or if I do, they're really hard to use as a one-person individual. Again, I'm not working as a team with someone else where they can hold one side of the tape and me get the measurement. That's ideally to me who this is for. If you do anything like that, and again, if you can get it even at $300, if you do that all day long every day, I feel like it would be worth it. If you can get it at $90, it's absolutely a really good deal if you do any of that whatsoever. But again, even at $90 for some of you out there, it's going to be a total waste of $90 if you never do any measurements outside, or if you don't do estimating, things like that. You might as well probably just buy you an indoor one. And as I said, if you're getting an indoor one and you do estimating, drawings, those kinds of things, I would highly recommend trying out a dual laser measure. It's made a world of difference for me as far as speed. But if you're wanting one as far as to measure for cutting really long trims, if you work by yourself, something like that, there's lots of options out there. This Bosch GLM-400c, I've been using this for years. I've cut crown molding. I've cut all sorts of things using this. It's very accurate. I would highly recommend one of those as well. Bosch makes really good lasers, really good laser measurers. I've been using theirs for pretty much for years, up until some people started sending me some of theirs for free to try out. It was pretty much the only brand that I would buy. Again, that's why I've had my eyeball on this one, because I knew it was a good brand. I figured it was going to be a good product, and to me, for what I'm seeing so far, I feel like it is. But again, let us know in the comments below. I haven't had it very long. I wanted to get it out there to you because it's on sale at my Lowe's anyways, and it might be at yours. But if you've been using this for quite some time, let us know how you feel about the accuracy over time, the durability, those kinds of things. Let us know that in the comments below so that, again, everybody can make the best informed decision that they can on whether or not this is the right tool for them. But again, I hope this video was useful in some way. Hope it's helpful. Stay safe. Have a blessed day. See you on the next video.